Here are the 7 steps that will solve all of your disagreements. The first one is save your self-esteem. Number 2, listen for the feelings hidden in their words. Number 3, investigate their definitions. Number 4, summarize and validate 3 times. Number 5, the truth will set you free. Number 6 is be accountable. And number 7 is hold on to your reality. So let's go through all of these now. The first one, save your self-esteem. What happens in an argument? We're both arguing and fighting to be right. Well, do you see, if we already know we're right and we just disagree with them, that by arguing, what we're really saying is, I don't have any value and worth unless you agree with me. So my need to argue with you tells the other person I have lost my self-esteem. It tells it to ourselves. My validation and worth is contingent upon you seeing my truth and you seeing this situation the way I see it. Well, what does that become? A race to the bottom. Who's the bigger victim? It's like 2 kids fighting over a Tonka truck. No one's ever going to win. And so from that place, you have 2 people in a child state, both demanding that I'm the bigger victim and I'm not going to listen to you until you validate my victimhood. Well, when you have 2 people in that place, you have 2 children arguing with each other, no matter your age, and both have lost their self-esteem. So the first step, the key to all of this, is if you get attacked in some fashion and you're unsure if it's true or not, the first step is don't argue. Your goal isn't to be right. The goal in every disagreement is to learn about the other person. And that's how you save your self-esteem. Is you recognize, I'm going to stay adult, and my job here is, this person sees this situation in the world from a completely different perspective. Fascinating. I'm going to learn about my partner, my best friend, my coworker, whoever it is. And so that's the key to saving your self-esteem, is let go of the need to be right. This is an opportunity for you to learn about how your friend or partner or whoever it may be, how they view the world. It's an opportunity for connection. So now let's move on to the steps on how you achieve that. Well, step number 2, listen for the feelings hidden in their words. Every single thought we ever have, every single action we ever take starts with an emotion, a feeling. So whenever anyone's speaking about anything, all they're ever trying to do is tell you what they feel. It can be about something clinical. The key is to listen to the descriptors and the metaphors that they use. Within those descriptors, you're going to hear their feelings about the topic. And that's what they're trying to get across. And what trips people up in arguments is they focus on the facts. You said this and you said I did this. Well, listen to how I'm saying it. You said there's anger, right? I'm listening, so when I listen to people, I'm listening to their tone, their body language, and I'm listening to the descriptors that they use. I can't believe. Oh, well, what's the feeling behind I can't believe? Disillusionment, confusion. Okay, this person's feeling confused. Like, that's what I'm paying attention to. Whether they're right or wrong doesn't matter, because remember, we're not here to fight about who's right. We're here to learn about the other person. So I'm learning that this person has certain feelings when they experience certain things. And that's what I'm focusing on. So as I listen to them, like when I get in arguments or disagreements, I always say, time out, let me grab a pad of paper. And I start making notes. I'm paying attention to the emotions that they're expressing as they describe the situation. That's how you'll understand somebody, and you'll see they're angry, they're sad, they're scared. That's what's really going on here, not the event itself. How do you figure that out? Step number 3, you investigate their definitions. What I mean by that is, even though words have definitions, we all have our own definitions for those words. Just think about when you get in a fight with one of your partners or your friends. And they'll accuse you of saying or doing something. And you're like, that's not what I said. Well, that's because they're interpreting your body language, your tone, or the descriptors and metaphors that you use to describe something with a different definition. They're not the same. Say there was someone angry at me, I go, so wait a minute. Can you tell me when you hear or watch or see me do any of these things, what does that mean to you? Now you're going to get to the emotions underneath what they observed. Like now we're getting closer to understanding them. So they may be using, facts to describe it, but by asking questions about what's that, define that for me, what does that mean? They're going to get into much more emotional language. Well, that means you don't care. That means you think I'm trivial. That means you disrespect my time. So what am I writing down? Disrespect, ignored, abandoned. That's what this person's really feeling. Ignored and abandoned. But if I focused on the facts, if I argued with their definitions of what I did or what I said, I wouldn't be learning anything about this person. I'd be missing what they're really experiencing, is that they're in pain and they're fearing abandonment. At least that's where we are so far in this stage. So I'm just going, okay, keep going, tell me more. So you feel this, and the more they describe facts, the more I ask questions about, okay, so when you see that situation play out, when you hear somebody say that and use those words or take that action, what do you think and feel about? What does that mean to you? Define that for me. And so when I do that with clients and I'm trying to explain a concept and I can see they're not getting, I'm like, when you hear me say this, what does that mean to you? And they'll share, well, that means A, B, C, and D. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, that's not what I'm getting across. Thank you for sharing that. So if somebody wanted to get this across, what words would you need to hear to understand this? And they'll give me a completely different set of words. But for them, now our definitions line up. And that's the key is, again, I'm learning about them. I'm not holding on to being right. My self-esteem is intact because what matters here is learning about the other person, not being right. So once you've gotten through those stages, and you've taken your notes, you have a good idea of what they're thinking and feeling, now's when you summarize, validate, and empathize. And so when they get you know what this is like, they tend to run out of air. And so that's when I step in, I go, so do you mind if I check in and see if I understand you? And then I start listening. So here's what I think I heard. Now, when I'm taking notes, what I'm focusing on are, I just write down short phrases that give me the topics that they brought up. So I listed off. So you're frustrated about A, B, C, and D. And when you experience A, you think and feel this. And when you experience B, you think and feel this, and C and D. Is that it? Have I heard you correctly? Yeah, that's pretty close. Okay, what did I miss? And then I go back. Okay, so when you see and hear A, B, C, and D, this is what you mean. Yes. Okay, great. Is that it, or is there more? This is the second time. Well, invariably, they'll always have more. And so now it'll be A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, same thing, taking notes. So let me summarize again. What I think I'm hearing is A, B, C, and D, but also E and F. And when E and F happen, you think and feel this. And by that time, I've had a better idea of their definitions. And so usually my summary and validation of those last two are pretty dead on. And they'll go, yep, that's close. And they'll go, and then I say, okay, so is that it, or is there more? In my experience, you're going to go through this 3 times. Almost everybody will have, the first time you ask it, they'll have 2 to 5 more things they'll bring up. The second time you'll ask it, they'll have 1 or 2. The third, most people are done by the third, but usually if they have any more, it's like 1. I've never had to go to 4. Usually I've done such a good job through the summary and validation part, the first couple stages, that there's one last thing. Once I get to all of that, now I empathize. And now, remember, we were paying attention to what they feel, because this is ultimately in a disagreement. what everybody wants to know is, do you care what they feel? And so now I because of that preliminary work, I'm going, well, from what I heard you say this and this and this and sad and angry and scared, and my God, those sound like overwhelming feelings. But in this step, what we're doing is recognizing, I heard you, your feelings matter. They're valid. And I understand them. I'm present to it, and I care about you. And so what that also communicates is, wow, this person really wants to know me, the way I think, the way I feel. Look at all this time and effort they put in to understanding me. And now they really recognize what's going on inside of me. So once you've gone through that, if anything they brought up in this disagreement is true, own it. Just say, yep, that's exactly. I had a situation just the other day. Very good friend of mine. I play tennis with him and his family on the weekends. And I saw him a couple days later and he said, hey, can I talk to you about something? I'm like, sure. And he said, when we play, we just play for fun. And there were a couple times when some people, shots were going out of bounds and they played the ball anyway. And, you were like, why'd you hit that? And, it just, not that they've mentioned it, but I just want you to know, like this, we're just here for fun. And first of all, my first response was, thank you. I really appreciate it. That must have been an incredible risk for you to bring this up. It's always scary when you confront somebody about a behavior that you didn't find appealing and you're afraid you might get attacked. So I really appreciate the respect. It shows our friendship that you took that risk to share that this didn't sit well with you. And you honored me by bringing it up. Can I tell you what was going on inside of me? I know that for me, I was being silly. And one thing I've learned about myself is there's a disconnect between what's in my heart and what comes out of my mouth. And so you're right. Your feelings are valid. If I think back on those moments, they did come across harsh, condescending, rude, aggressive, demeaning to the people who hit it. And it's something I'm still working on. It's something I struggle with. I'm really fortunate that I have a friend like you who brings it up because I can always address it. And so can I ask a favor from you? In the future when we play, because I also explained, I forgot to tell you this, but I learned to speak that way from my grandfather, somewhat my father, but mostly my grandfather. It's, just, there's a disconnect there. And, so I said, when my grandfather comes out, can we have kind of a code word? Not that I want to make you responsible for this, but, I'm usually good at catching it. Obviously, I missed it. And so when I miss it, can you just say something like, hey, is Grandpa here to play today? Something to remind me of that I've lost containment and there's that disconnect. So do you see, I just took ownership. He was right. And I didn't lose my self-esteem. I didn't get defensive. I admitted the truth, that I'm perfectly imperfect. I'm human. I learned some of these traits when I was younger. I'm working on them. I still have a lot of work to do, and I validated his feelings. I empathized with what he was going through, and I spoke the truth. The truth set me free. It set us both free. It built on our relationship. He felt understood, heard, validated, empathized, and safe. That's ultimately what you do when you use these techniques, is you create safety for both of you. And you create, this is where, remember what I said, arguments are an opportunity for connection. We both created connection. His vulnerability and my truth and honesty, we allowed us to come closer. And that takes us to the sixth step. Be accountable, make amends. How do you feel when someone says, I'm sorry? Like, say they did that step, said they, admit it, you're right, I was wrong there, I'm so sorry. What do we instantly feel? Ugh. I've never met anyone who enjoys hearing I'm sorry. And the reason is the definition for I'm sorry has changed. It's not what it used to be. And what it's become is, as soon as I say I'm sorry, it means I'm off the hook. You can't be angry at me anymore. You can no longer resent me. You have to forgive me. All is forgiven. I never want to hear it about again. And there's this burden placed onto the other person when we say I'm sorry for what I did. Well, that's why nobody likes I'm sorry. And so what I teach my clients, what I had to learn is we get accountable by making amends. So the amends is about actions. And so if anything in this is disagreement, if any part of it is true, this is where you say, look, you're dead right. I made a mistake. And here's my plan to address it. This is where we lay out what we're going to do. I did this with my kids. I had a period where I was very angry and I realized, oh my God, and I was yelling at them all the time. And I caught myself after I'd done it more than I'd like and realized it was about a situation over here. And I sat them down and I said, look, I realized I've been really angry lately and yelling at you guys. I mean, you've made some mistakes, but my reaction has been way overblown. And I've been really hurtful. And it hurts me to see what I've done to you with my anger. And so do you remember that guy, Mike, that counselor that I would see? I've called him and I'm going to start seeing him again because I realized all that anger that I've been dumping on you, it's about something else. And I need to go deal with that. So I stopped projecting it onto you. And I want you to know you're not to blame. You didn't do anything. This is my issue and my problem. And this is my plan to address it. So I stopped dumping it on you. This is where the forgiveness comes in. This is why amends is so much more powerful than I'm sorry. I will never forget the next week when I came home from work and my youngest daughter loved to play lacrosse. Not that she liked lacrosse, she liked to spend time with Dad. And as soon as I pulled up, she grabbed the lacrosse sticks and like, Dad, let's throw the ball. And I'm like, oh, sweetie, I'd love to, but remember, I told you I'm going to deal with that anger stuff and I have to leave here shortly to go see Mike. I don't have time. I have to change and run out. And she just turned, looked at me sideways and went, that's a young girl watching her father going, huh, maybe he's serious about this. Maybe I can forgive him. And that's much more powerful than I'm sorry. So if there's any truth in this disagreement, any part that you played, anything that you need to own, what you do is you put a plan. Now you may not know it in the moment. So when I don't know the answer in the moment, I just say, hey, you're right about these things. I'm not quite exactly sure how I'm going to handle it, but give me a couple days. I promise I will get back to you and let you know what my plan is to address this. And I get back with them and I lay out. Here's how I'm going to attack it, because what we want is for people to watch our actions. Words mean nothing. No, but that's why we don't like I'm sorry. We want to see somebody's actions. We want to see them put a plan in place and address the issues. And when we do that, do you see how, again, by not getting defensive, we're creating a deeper connection? This is why it solves all disagreements. Because what is it we want from somebody who makes a mistake? We want them to deal with it. And so when we watch a person deal with it, we go like, God, I love this person. No wonder they're in my life. That's why disagreements are great, if you use this process. Now, let's move on to step 7. Hold on to your reality. There are times when people bring up things, and our reality, our truth, is just completely different. Now, it may be the whole topic, but usually it's pieces. Like, in almost all circumstances, there's an element, there are certain, if they have 5 things they're complaining about, there's 2 or 3 things where we can go, yep, that's true. I did that. Here are my amends. And there are 1 or 2 things where we're like, that's just not my reality. I don't remember it that way. So, in those instances where we've owned 3, yep, you're right, these are the 3 things. Here's my plan to deal with those. But these 2 things, my reality is different. And so by holding on to our self-esteem way back in the beginning, we don't give ourselves away, we don't play nice and admit to everything just to get in their good graces so they stop yelling at us, because then we'll sit in silent anger and resentment, we'll do it again, and we'll just keep reliving this problem over and over. We'll keep having this disagreement. So instead, because we held on to our self-esteem in the beginning, we can use that self-esteem now and go, yeah, my reality on those two things is different. And if you're open to it, I'm willing to share my experience and what I remember, but we don't have to talk about that today. The other option is, you could tell me a little bit more about those two things, because maybe I'm missing something, but I just don't see it that way. And so do you see what you're allowing? Because we have self-esteem, we can recognize that two people can look at the exact same situation and see it differently. I mean, what happens in every sporting event? There's a controversial play and half the stadium thinks one thing happened and the other half thinks another thing happened. What's going on in politics? One side thinks this is the truth, the other side thinks this is the truth. Both have different realities. They're allowed to have that reality. I don't know which one is right. I know I will pick a side based on my reality. So there are your 7 steps to solving all of your disagreements. Hold on to your self-esteem, listen for the feelings hidden in their words, investigate their definitions, summarize, validate, and empathize 3 times. The truth will set you free. Be accountable. Hold on to your reality. If this helped you, please leave me some comments. Leave some of your experiences of people who lost their self-esteem, who couldn't use this, whatever it is you're going through. But even better, leave a comment about once you've tried this, especially with a partner. If you have a contentious relationship with your spouse or partner, this will change it. I've saved more marriages using this model than any other thing I've taught them. It's taught them how to start actually hearing people by focusing on what they feel and learning to get to know them, not listening to be right. I hope that helps.